It's Wednesday. The season is almost here. And even though we aren't quite going to get into a lot of the fall camp stuff because really we kind of know what's going on, we've got a guy that knows a little something about what is going on with Michigan football. And that's our quarterback, Jack Tuttle. We're going to be in the huddle. No, dang it. I wanted to keep it in the pocket with Jack Tuttle. We're going to talk about that here on this episode of Locked On Wolverines.
You are Locked On Wolverines, your daily podcast on the Michigan Wolverines, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Happy Wednesday. We are back and doing it. Locked On Wolverines podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, where it's your team every day. I'm your man on the ground, Isaiah Hole, publisher of Wolverines Wire through USA Today Sports Media Group. Over to my side is my quarterback. We are in the pocket with Jack Tuttle. Jack, everyone wants us to say in the huddle. I messed up and said it, but I said yesterday on the show, I want to be obstinate. I don't want to give the people what they want, in large part because when I gave the people what they wanted with the Butthole podcast, they rebelled. So I don't want to give the people what they want. So it's still going to be in the pocket. So how we feeling, man?
I feel great. It's another great week. Another week closer to college football. Week 0 begins this week. Obviously, Boys in Blue play next week, so I know everyone's hyped up for that, and I'm really looking forward to it.
Well, first off, I have to say thank you to all of our everydayers that check out the show every single day. Thank you for making us your first listen. We've got 3 things on the docket. We're going to talk a bit about the NCAA penalty stuff, then the impact of the Andrew Babalola injury, what that means for the offensive line. And then we're going to get into something about Sherrone Moore here. I think that I've made no secret, I think he's not getting talked about enough. We're going to get into why down the line. But first, Jack, this is the first chance that we've gotten to talk to you since the NCAA penalties have come down. Just generally, give me your thoughts. What was your reaction when you heard 10 years show cause for Jim Harbaugh, 8 years for Connor Stallions, 4 years probation, massive fines, all of this. Chris Partridge exonerated, which I don't think gets talked about enough. And Denard Robinson, 3 years show cause as well. So what was your reaction when you heard all of this?
Yeah, so Isaiah, that a lot of this I find kind of offensive to some people. The NCAA is cracking down on Coach Harbaugh first and foremost, which doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me because everyone out there on social media and in the public blames Coach Harbaugh for this and that. And yes, I understand that he is the leader of the program, or was in those years, but Coach Harbaugh was a genuine coach and a great leader. He had zero idea what was going on in regards to that, some of that stuff. And to be honest, a lot of it was fair play, like personnel scheming and signal stealing. A lot of people don't understand that's a part of college football and has been, even from my freshman year, which was like 50 years ago. So it's been around the game. Been around the game for a long time. And the thing I took away from it, I was, most annoyed about was not that Coach Harbaugh will come back to college football, but you're trying to stain his legacy. And I want people to know it shouldn't be, because he's an honest man, a great leader, and one of the best coaches I've ever been around. And in regards to the other parts of the punishment, I also believed it to be a little bit too harsh as well. I don't find that what happened was, what I know that happened wasn't that big of a deal, and I'm still unsure it wasn't legal. So getting into
be
that,
careful because you're going to get what ends up happening. You say that you're going to end up getting, this video is going to get cut by all of our Buckeye watchers. And then they're gonna take that part and they're gonna try to make you famous in a bad way. But I look at it as we're upsetting the right people when we say this. But
I like to also say, to the point where there's also these people that go out on social media and say, all these guys knew that they were doing this and that. All of them were a part of this scheme and a part of this plan. No one in the building had any idea, what was going on or what was said to be going on out on social media. We were just football players. On the offensive side of the ball, I can give you my point of view because I was there. I was the backup to JJ, and every single day we just went into the film room. We just schemed up our opponent with plays, formations, motions, and the offense didn't have anything to do with that. We had no idea what the defense was going to run against us. We used shifts and motions to understand, okay, they're just bumping, it's probably zone. Oh, they're running with the guy, it's man. And Coach Moore did a great job scheming up their fronts and creating a great run game. We had no idea what they were going to be in. We just were going to smash people regardless. So at least from the offensive side, we were just there, smashing, understanding, scheming up the defenses, and playing the best we could. So,
wait, this flies in the face of what I have been told completely. So, I had been told by Go Buck 69420 that you knew every single play that you were looking at because everything was relayed that fast. You had the recall, they signal. Connor gets the signal. He talks to whoever, and they signal to you, and then suddenly you have the fast recall to the point where you knew every single thing you were looking at, and thus were able to exploit it. You're telling me that isn't the case?
No, that is not the case at all. Football is a way more complex game than that. And to be honest, ever since I was there, that was never a thing. And for most of the year, a lot of those guys weren't even with us. So people want to try and stain, Team 144's legacy in the national championship run. You can't do that. You just can't, because what we were playing was just straight up football. There wasn't a lot of people. There wasn't anyone still there by the time mid-season came around, I think. And that back half of the schedule was just probably our toughest part of the schedule. I think we played Ohio. There was Maryland, who was pretty good that year. They had some good athletes. We had Alabama, obviously Washington at the end of the year, Iowa in the Big Ten championship. We just won those games straight up. And
well, I was told that there was no way
for anyone to see our legacy there.
There was no way you guys were going to be able to beat East Carolina or Rutgers or Bowling Green without. No, exactly. Yet you were going to be able to beat Penn State in Happy Valley and Ohio State. You weren't going to be able. There was no way that you were going to be able to beat Rutgers. I'm sorry. I'm just trying to be impartial here. There was no way. They were a powerhouse that year. They were 7 or 8 wins away from a national championship. That just you guys got in the way with all of the cheating, as we say it here on the show.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on from that. There's some big news with Andrew Babalola, who you've spoken glowingly about. He looks to be feared to be out for the season. How that maybe shakes up the front, which is arguably, I think you would agree, the most important part of the Michigan football offense, that offensive line, and just given how everything kind of runs through it. So we're going to talk about that here in just a moment. But before we do, most people cannot name all of their financial accounts for even what they're worth, even whether it's a 401k, properties, or investments. And when you don't have the full picture, you can end up leaving money on the table. That's why there's Monarch Money. It's an all-in-one personal finance tool that brings your entire financial life together in one clean, easy-to-use interface on your laptop or your phone. Monarch does the heavy lifting for you. You can link all of your accounts in minutes, see clear data, visuals, get smart categorization of your spending, and finally feel in control of your money without ever touching a spreadsheet. So many things that you can learn, whether it's those recurring fees that you didn't realize you were paying for, those subscriptions, and also you can figure out, hey, maybe I'm spending way too much on DoorDash. Maybe I need to just, cook at home a little bit. That may be something I learned from personal experience. So don't let financial opportunities slip through the cracks. Use the code LOCKEDONCollege at monarchmoney.com in your browser for half off your first year. That's 50% off of your first year with monarchmoney.com with the code LOCKEDONCollege. All right, we're going to continue on here in just a moment. But before we do, if you're running a business, every missed call is money left on the table. Think about the last time you needed a service. If the first person didn't answer, did you wait? Probably not. You moved on. That's why you need OpenPhone, so you never miss an opportunity to connect with your customers. OpenPhone is the #1 business phone system designed to streamline and scale your customer communications. If you juggle 2 phones just to keep your business and personal calls separate, well, guess what? OpenPhone saves that, solves that immediately. Your whole team can now share 1 phone number and respond to customers like a shared inbox. No more who's handling this. And the AI agent handles after-hours calls, answers common questions, and captures leads, so you never miss a customer again. See why over 60,000 businesses trust OpenPhone. They're offering Locked On listeners 20% off your first 6 months at openphone.com/LockedOnCollege. That's OpenPhone.com/LockedOnCollege. They'll even port over your existing numbers for free. OpenPhone, no missed calls, no missed customers. All right, Jack. So we got to talk about Andrew Babalola. Feared lost. Sounds like it's an ACL tear. Big kind of miss for Michigan in that sense of, I mean, there's been kind of these reports saying that Evan Link had sounded like he had won the job outright. But he was certainly going to be in the mix and certainly could have been used as a Trente Jones type of guy. So what was your reaction when you heard about Andrew Babalola, and how do you think that is going to affect the offensive line?
Yeah, Isaiah, and not to stress the Michigan fans out even more, but when I heard the news, I was honestly devastated for him. Andrew Babalola is one of the best freshman linemen I've ever seen in college. He's extremely talented. The way he developed his body in probably the 6-7 months I saw him there was unbelievable. And I think he could start at a lot of places in the country. And it's just unfortunate that this happened to him. I know he was in the competition, but fortunate for Michigan, there's a lot of good guys on that O-line. You got, obviously, Evan Link, who's developed. He's done a great job in the offseason attacking and improving the areas he needs to. Then you also have Blake Frazier coming back. A lot of name that people may not know, may know. He was a freshman last year, redshirted to get some size on him. Had a little stuff to work on with his body and some injuries from high school. Coming back, he's ready to go, and I know he's competing for fall camp. I know Coach Moore has mentioned his name in the press conference. So he's another name to watch out for it, to be a 6th man on the line. And I'm super excited for him. You also have Andrew Sprague on the other side at tackle, who's going to be a true sophomore, maybe a redshirt freshman. I think they redshirted him. And he is extremely talented, big. So he's going to hold down the right side, and maybe they switch sides. But we're in good shape. They're in good shape for this upcoming year, and then we'll see who starts at that guard position. I know there's a couple candidates there.
Now, like, obviously, like we were talking about Link being the likely starter anyhow, but even just having a guy that's pushing him the way that Andrew was, let's go ahead and knock on wood here, not to be too superstitious or anything, but like, let's say that Link ends up being able to stay healthy all season. How much, though, would it have helped to have that guy who was considered to be in the thick of it up until maybe this time last week? Like, that was pushing him and all of that. You've been in those camp positions before, and obviously you've gone through the seasons and everything. How much does that even hurt? Just kind of like, yeah, you want to know you're the guy, but at the same time, not having someone who's pushing you the way that Babalola was pushing Link, how much does that hurt?
Yeah, I think it really hurts, to be honest. You guys remember that Team 144, the national championship team, obviously, there was 2 rotations of O-line on that team that could have started anywhere in the country. You obviously had Miles Hinton, who wasn't even starting on that team at points. I know he started a couple games in the beginning, but then you had Ladarius Henderson come in and play the rest of the year. You had Trente, who wasn't even starting. One of the most talented O-linemen, freakishly athletic O-linemen I've seen. And, Carson Barnhart, you had him at tackle too. You have to have depth at O-line and guys you trust and guys with experience to get through the year, because it's just almost impossible to get through a year with your 5 starting linemen that you started with at the beginning of the year. It is almost impossible. And on every team I've been on, it's been some type of switch up throughout the year because there's been some type of injury. So they're going to have to kind of reload here. It's unfortunate because I know Babs has worked really hard, and someone else is going to have to step up for him this year.
Yeah, and that's you never want to see something go down like that with the injury. And obviously they're going to have to dig a little bit deeper. I think that they've got a lot of good there. That you just kind of, especially, I think one of the things is they haven't had many true tackles. Even before you came, seemed like they're, the guys like, Ladarius Henderson or Carson Barnhart, I feel like you could look at them as being more of the prototypical inside guy in a lot of ways. So to have a guy that was going to be a prototypical tackle that was vying for the position, I think to lose that, no matter how you look at it, is a blow. All right, we're going to keep that segment that short, and we're going to move into, I think, the bigger topic here, which is the Sherrone Moore. I think is a bit underrated. You've met him once or twice. You had the opportunity. Yeah, I think he shook your hand, during a practice or something. I think he's not getting the credit that he deserves in a lot of ways. So let's get into that here in just a moment. But before we do, this episode is brought to you by PrizePicks, the daily fantasy platform that lets you turn your football predictions into real rewards. Preseason is already heating up, and college football is not that far behind. Like Jack said, week 0 coming up on Saturday. Whether you got your eye on big name quarterbacks or breakout running backs, PrizePicks makes it easy to get in the game. PrizePicks is simple to play. Just pick more or less on a 2 to 6 player stat projection. If you get your picks right, you can cash in and win up to 2,000 times your money. I've used PrizePicks for a few seasons now. I love how simple it is. You can get all your picks in while your coffee brews. It's that quick. The flex play option is a total game changer. Even when one of your picks misses, you still see your money doubled. PrizePicks puts all of their members first, so all of the withdrawals are fast, safe, and secure. Download the PrizePicks app today and use the code LOCKEDONCollege to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code LOCKEDONCollege to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks, run your game. All right, we're going to continue on momentarily. Before we do, August 26th is officially FanDuel Futures Day, a brand new holiday for football fans who live for bold predictions and preseason hunches. For just 24 hours, FanDuel is giving you deals on NFL season predictions. So whether you're calling your MVP, eyeing a long shot division winner, or ready to crown your Super Bowl champ before week 1 even kicks off, this right here is your moment. So here's the thing. You guys know Detroit Lions, Aiden Hutchinson. Go ahead and pick your MVP, your Super Bowl winner. You know it's both of them. No matter where you're from. Sorry, California boy Jack Tuttle. It's going to be the Detroit Lions. Regardless, visit the FanDuel app today. Start planning your futures bets now, because Futures Day is one day and one day only. FanDuel, play your game. All right, Jack. You like I said before the break, you know a little something about Sherrone Moore. I brought this up on the show yesterday. I think it's funny because when Marcus Freeman became the head coach at Notre Dame, before he had coached one game, he coached a loss in the bowl game, but he had a really good recruiting offseason. And everyone, he's a handsome guy, right? Like, he's fit. He's likable despite being an Ohio State Buckeye at heart. But like, everyone was just kind of like, oh man, this guy's so good. Like, look at the recruiting. This guy's so good. Then you get to Sherrone Moore, who coached a win against Bowling Green as an interim coach. Coached wins as an interim coach against Penn State, Maryland, and Ohio State. Gets named the head coach. Has a little bit of a rocky start, obviously, with losses to Texas, Washington, Illinois, Oregon, and Indiana. But beats Ohio State, beats Alabama, flips Bryce Underwood from LSU. Yesterday, he gets Savion Hyder, the number one running back in the country, the highest rated running back Michigan has had in the modern recruiting era. I think I know the answer to this. This is a loaded question. Do you think that Sherrone Moore is not getting the love that he deserves nationally? CBS has him as the 15th of 18 coaches in the Big Ten. Thinks he's 15th in the conference. What do you think? Is Sherrone being underrated?
Yeah, so I do think a 15th out of 18th is kind of outrageous, to be honest. And I'm going to go back in time a little bit. After 2023, obviously, we had the great season, and half the building leaves, obviously, because Coach Harbaugh goes to LA, the Chargers, and about half the people, a lot of times people don't see, they just see the big name, Coach Harbaugh, Coach Minner, all go to LA. Yes, of course they did, but you don't see the other support staff that was like half the building gone. And so you also see NFL guys go, JJ, obviously, Roman, Cornelius, like the whole O-line gone, right? So I think, to be fair to Coach Moore, at the beginning of 2024 season, we had a tough schedule. We had a tougher schedule, and we lost half the people in the building, half the players. They had a lot of injuries. So I think, in all fairness to him, it was a tough situation to be in. And, he kept fighting. He kept the team in the season, and we finished strong, or they finished strong last year. So I think
you can say we in that case. You were part of that team.
So we finished strong last year, and I don't think a lot of other coaches in the Big Ten would be able to do that, to be honest. And I got to give credit to Coach Moore. He held the team together last year and finished strong, beat our rivals. So I think now he's just trying to, pick up what was lost after our great run and rebuild in a way. And I think he did that. He brought some pieces. He brought Bryce in. He brought some depth at quarterback. He obviously brought Donaven. We brought Donaven McCulley in. Obviously, my guy. He's a beast. And a bunch of other pieces on defense. So he's going in the right direction. He's doing good things in terms of, recruiting, getting guys in there. He's obviously shown he can be an offensive coordinator and scheme up defense. So I think he's just building the culture now, and he's got to continue to do that. And he's done a great job. So I honestly, how they're rating him, he is underrated. And it's kind of outrageous, in my opinion.
Had the best win in college football last year. I mean, you could say Oregon, but Ohio State was able to get Oregon, get revenge. But Michigan goes, they don't have you. You're medically retired. They don't really, no offense to Davis or Alex, don't really have a quarterback otherwise. Go down to Columbus, where before 2022 hadn't won in 20 some years. Go down to Columbus as 3-score underdog and beat the Buckeyes. Like, if you can't see the coaching prowess there, I don't know how to help you. I do want to ask you a different question. You look like you have something you want to say there.
Without Colson Loveland and Will Johnson in Columbus.
Yeah. And then Alabama, same deal, right? Like, don't have any of those guys. The guys that even played against Ohio State, Mason Graham, Kenneth Grant, Josiah Stewart, all out. Even Makari Page not playing, and go and beat a full strength Crimson Tide team. And yet, like, people look, normally you look at that type of thing and you say, oh man, if they're able to do that, those final two games, things are going to be looking up for the next season. And people are like, yeah, Michigan's ranked. They're 14th in both the coaches poll and the AP top 25. But at the same time, people are like, yeah, but they got to play. And I understand Oklahoma's going to be difficult, but they're like, oh, they got to play a team that was 6-7 last year. Ooh. I don't know if they can do it. I don't know if they can. I just don't think, like, people are talking about that as an auto loss, which is absurd. want to ask you one more question, and then we'll get you out of here. Just because, again, you mentioned Donaven McCulley. I don't think that he's getting enough hype. I mean, I understand Michigan fans are, they are excited, but nationally, no one's really talking about Donaven McCulley. Just give me tell me why they're wrong. Why do we need to be looking at Donaven McCulley as potentially one of the premier wideouts, not just in the Big Ten, but in the country?
Yeah, so obviously Donaven started out as a quarterback coming out of high school, Lawrence North in Indianapolis. We were teammates at Indiana. One of my backups. He was my backup going into a game. My Penix was hurt. And then he ended up playing in the Big House 2021 as a starting quarterback. And maybe not a lot of fans realize that, but he came from QB to receiver, started building up. I was there in 2022 when he made the change. And the type of athlete he is, he's about 6'5", like 210, but he still runs well. It's honestly insane. Michigan hasn't had somebody like that probably since Nico, I'm thinking. Like since Nico Collins, DPJ wasn't even this big. So like Nico, that's the only guy I can think of there. People should be excited because you might actually be able to sit in the Big House and watch somebody throw a fade ball to somebody else, which I can't remember since that's been done, except for maybe Colson or a tight end. But I think this is really exciting to have this type of talent in Michigan Stadium. And this guy's one of the biggest additions, if not the biggest addition, in the offseason. And, man, I would have loved to have him last year. Gosh, that would have been amazing. So he deserves all the hype he's going to get. I know he's going to want to keep his head down and stay humble. I'm excited to watch the first game, and I know he's going to be hungry and attack. So.
Well, we got to let the man in the coolest shirt that I've ever seen go. But I know we talked about Donaven. I just want to reiterate that. So anyway, thank you, Jack. Thank you to all of you out there who are watching or listening. We do appreciate it. Thursday will mark the return of the Michigan mailbag. So look out for the call for questions. It will be more late in the day due to a press conference in the middle of it all. But again, thank you all. So we'll talk to you again soon. Peace.